get started right away, a logical place to start is with lighting, just because there are so many immediate benefits to a lighting energy efficiency upgrade. So again, there's a lot of benefits to lighting upgrades. The most obvious one would be the benefit of seeing the lower electric bill. However, that's not the only benefit. Up on your screen, you'll see several different examples of benefits of lighting upgrades. One reason why lighting upgrades are also popular is that you can actually see that project every day. If you're going to install maybe a new, more efficient rooftop unit, you can't actually see that. But with a lighting project, you can actually see it every day. You also get the benefit of better visual of your facility with the improved lighting. Another benefit that a lot of people don't think about is with a lighting upgrade, you're given the opportunity to standardize your lighting equipment, be it lamps and ballast. And this really helps your maintenance team simplify your inventory and backstock. It's a lot easier if you have a lamp to replace when you know throughout the whole building the same lamp. You don't have to find out the specifics of that lamp wattage, color temperature, everything like that. When things are standardized, it makes it a lot easier and quicker to get things fixed. So going into specific lighting examples. Before I get started, I do want to just call out attention that the incentives that we'll be talking about throughout the rest of this presentation, for the most part, are from the AEP Ohio Business Incentives Program. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the program, while a lot of the utilities are beginning to get programs, a lot of them are very similar. However, the incentives or how they calculate that incentive may differ from program to program, which is why we really encourage you to get in touch with either Michael or myself or someone on the team there who can help get you in touch with your local utility so we can get you exact incentives available for specific measures. Now, with that being said, the retrofits of your fluorescent tubes are one of the most popular lighting upgrades you can do, and that's retrofitting your T12 lamps, your T8 or even T5 lamps. Why this is a popular measure is the fluorescent tubes can be found in a lot of different variety of spaces. The T8 lamps have a longer life compared to that of the T12 lamp, which means you can typically see a savings of 30 to 40% just by replacing those tubes. Now these rebates are phasing out, and that is because in July of 2012, most T12 lamps didn't meet the DOE's regulations for production. We do want to point out you don't want to be fooled because in recent months, some manufacturers have come up with a high CRI lamp for T12 that do meet the federal regulations for production, but those new higher CRI T12s don't meet some of the requirements for incentive programs. They're not more efficient, so they can actually end up costing you more over the life of the lamp. But with that being said, here in Ohio, we're still incentivizing your T12 to T8 lamps. If you plan on retrofitting those lamps, it'd be $3 per bulb. Or if you're putting in a whole new fixture, we would incentivize in Ohio 30 cents per watt reduced. Another measure that we see is very popular in a lot of hotel or lodging industries is the replacement of incandescents to CFLs. Why we see that as pretty popular is because a lot of the lighting you would see in your guest rooms are very similar to the lighting you'd find in your homes. CFLs are a popular replacement because they come in many different styles. They also have a much longer life, and they also give off less heat. In Ohio, some incentives you would see for a CFL would be if it be your screw-in CFL, your incentive would be $1 to $1.50 per lamp, and that incentive is going to be based off of the wattage of your screw-in CFL. Another incentive we have is your hardwired CFLs. The incentive could be anywhere from $15 to $25 per fixture, and again, that incentive would be based off of the wattage of your CFL. Lighting controls. Installing sensors or controls, a lot of times we see this as an unfulfilled potential for greater savings. Not only can you see savings by putting in more efficient lighting, but if you're able to install one of these controls that are listed on your screen here, you can also control the amount that that light's being used. So not only do you have more efficient light, but it's being used less because it has control on there. Again, in Ohio, we pay our incentive based off watts controlled, and that incentive varies between what type of control is being used. So again, for not much higher of a cost, if you're able to consider installing a sensor on your lighting fixtures, and you can increase your savings as well as the incentive that you can receive from your utility. Later on in the presentation, Michael will be discussing some guest room controls that are available for your greater incentives for your guest rooms. LEDs. LEDs you can kind of consider to be the new cool kids on the block. Their popularity is also increasing while the price of LEDs are going down and the technologies for LED lights are improving. The easiest way we see people to implement LEDs in their facilities is through LED exit signs. In Ohio, we provide incentives of $20 per sign, which we've been told is pretty close to the cost of the sign itself. The great thing about LED exit signs is that they use 90% less energy, and they last about 10 years longer than your old incandescent exit signs. So in addition to the energy and maintenance savings, you can also be confident that they will be lit and working during your next inspection. Another great opportunity for LED within the hotel industry is most of you probably have a sign advertising your business in front of your building. This is a great opportunity to replace your incandescent or neon lights you currently have with an LED option. In Ohio, our LED incentives are based off watts reduced, and that incentive ranges from 30 to 45 cents per watt reduced, and that's going to depend on the location of it. Is it an indoor fixture or an outdoor fixture, and the type of LED fixture it is. For example, we pay a higher incentive if your LED fixture is an Energy Star listed or DLC listed lamp. So again, we want to encourage you that if you're going to start planning for a lighting upgrade involving LEDs, to get in contact with your utility to find out the specifics of what incentive is available. Another very popular application for LEDs, this is one we're focusing on a lot here in Ohio, is your parking lots and garages for LEDs. Not only do you have the buzzing sound, you have a better CRI, which makes your guests feel more comfortable and safer. You can consider installing sensor-controlled bi-level LED fixtures in your garages, and this incentive here would be paid 30 to 35 cents per watt reduced. So you'll see there on the right-hand side of your slide, we actually have some branded fact sheets on the parking lots and garages because we feel there's that much of a great opportunity for savings and safety by retrofitting those lights you have to LED options. Finally, here on the screen are 3 specific examples for different projects that we have seen and incentivized at DNV KEMA. The first one is a casino replace their decorative neon lights with LEDs. On that project, the utility paid $1,300 and had an annual cost savings of $2,400. You can see the very great savings on that project. A different hotel replaced 2,000 incandescent lamps with some CFOs. The utility paid $13,000, and the projected annual cost savings was $40,000. And our one last example is with a smaller hotel where they replaced 72 incandescent bug lights with CFOs, and they actually had a simple payback of less than 3 months. So again, that's just one great example of why we encourage you, if you're not going to go first on the path of a comprehensive energy efficiency project, to focus on the lighting, because a lot of these have very quick payback periods and they have great projected annual savings for your company, and one great easy first step to boost that bottom line. Now I'm going to turn it over to Michael, where he's going to be talking about different opportunities you can see within your building beyond lighting.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Can everyone hear me now? Okay, great.
Yep.
Good. Let's go and talk about the HVAC and where there are opportunities for savings as well as incentives. As mentioned before, I am an outreach professional here working with the ComEd program. So that's mostly all of Northern Illinois. And I've worked with projects across the marketplace from small hotels to large hotels and hospitals and factories. And so I'm excited about the possibility of additional savings, particularly when I take a look at hotels, because hotels operate 24 hours a day. So the more you operate, the more opportunities there is for savings and the more money actually you can get back, particularly for custom opportunities. As Stephanie did mention, our programs are similar in certain ways in what we pay out. Like, for instance, the exit signs, we both pay out at $20 rather per exit sign. However, we're paying out right now 40 cents per watt reduced, going from a T12 to a T8, at least until June 1st. Our program year runs from June 1st to May 31st, and so that's important. I can tell you exactly how much we're going to pay out now as we're in our 5th program year, but I don't know exactly what we're going to be paying out come June 1st because that has not been released yet. But every year it changes a bit. So we may add new measures. There may be an increase in certain incentives for certain things, and maybe a decrease in other things. So check with your local utility implementer, or your utility company, and find exactly what the incentives are for their program year. So when we take a look at PTAC units, for instance, for HVAC systems, all right? Of course, the benefit, they're more comfort, less noise, typical savings of about 10%. Now, package terminal, we're paying out at $30 per ton incentives. Now, again, every utility is different, so you want to check on that and see exactly what yours is paying. If you have, for instance, ground source heat pumps, and on this slide here, looking at $80, a water source heat pump at $70. For the ComEd service program, we don't have a standard of what's called prescriptive measure. That has to be taken in as what we call a custom. And the difference is on a standard measure, what we used to call prescriptive, you know, if you replace a light fixture, we're going to pay you $20 for that fixture. We'll pay you $5 per individual lamp. There is a simple template. You know, it's a simple format that we use across the spectrum, so we know exactly how much we're going to pay you. But when we take a look at things like a ground source heat pump or water source heat pump, particularly for our service territory, there is no simple template. So what we have to do is provide an incentive that's going to be based on the kWh reduced on an annual basis. And we're going to take a look at the baseline, and that baseline is, well, it might be what you're using now, or it might be what is industry standard. So that's going to be determined on a case-by-case basis. Then take a look at what it is that you're installing, and then that delta between the two is where we're going to multiply the incentive amount, either anywhere from 5, 6, or 7 cents, at least in our territory, in order to derive exactly how much the incentive is going to be. So when we look at this particular slide, yes, we also pay out for PTACs. Here there's $30 per ton, but for us, we're looking at ground source and heat pumps are going to have to come in on a custom application. Okay, now let's talk about VFDs. Variable speed drives, variable frequency drives, paying out at $60 per horsepower on air handling units. In our territory, we also pay out for putting a VFD on a chiller. However, that's at $25 per horsepower. And there is a difference in putting it on air handlers depending upon whether you have a forward-facing or backward-facing curve fans. We'll take a look and provide an incentive at putting a VFD on the air handling unit if you have forward-facing curve fans with inlet guide vanes. However, that has to come in on a custom application. Typically, there's more energy savings, of course, with backward-facing curve fans than forward-facing curve fans, but that, again, has to come in custom. But for anything else, it's at $60 per horsepower. So we'll take a look at GRMs, Guest Room Energy Management Systems. There's a lot of benefits to them. Reduces the overall system use when a room is not occupied. They vary in performance and style. Some are key activated. Some uses different type of thermal or different types of occupancy detectors. The typical savings is anywhere from 15 to 30%, which is great. So here we're looking at $65 per room in incentive for an electric or a $25 per room for non-electric heat. So even if you have a gas unit, you'll still have a little bit of electricity, of course, in blowing it over. So again, that will vary. Check with your individual utility for it.
Michael,
Okay.
this is
Here we
Chris.
have a case study. Yes.
Michael, this is Chris. The question came up about the VFDs. Are there incentives in your area for VFDs other than the air handler units for other applications?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The only place in the common service territory when we're taking a look at VFDs where there are some issues and they can't be installed is where you're using them for soft start, for instance, you know, or if you're using them for less than 1,200 hours. We want it, if you're using it like on a backup system, as long as it's running in parallel with the primary system, that's fine. If it's a secondary system that's over 1,200 hours, that's fine. If it's using for a soft start, that's not good. If it's being used where infinity laws are not in effect, like a sump pump, then no, we will not consider that. But yeah, I think that, you know, VFDs offer a great opportunity for savings. If you are putting them on, for instance, a motor, let's say at a factory where the motor's over 200 horsepower, then that will be paid out on a custom application. So that doesn't come in standard or prescriptive, it comes in on a custom. So yeah, we definitely will take a look at a VFD on almost all aspects. And again, as I said before, a chiller. Also, if you have customers looking at buying new chillers, for instance, we pay out an incentive for, depending upon whether it's an air-cooled chiller or a water-cooled chiller. For an air-cooled chiller, we're at $30 per ton. But then there's an additional $3.50 bonus that you can get depending upon the integrated part load value level. Same thing with the water-cooled chiller, but at that one we're paying at $20 per ton, but then there's still a $3.50 per ton efficiency bonus depending upon the tonnage size and depending upon the integrated part load value from the manufacturer. So that spec is spec'd out from the manufacturer. Now,
Great.
One caveat.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one caveat again back on the VFDs, if at least in our territory, this is to encourage new energy efficiency. So if you have a VFD that is broken and you want to put a new VFD on to replace it, that's considered maintenance, and for that in our territory we will not pay out.
Okay. Another question that came up regarding the energy management systems for the guest rooms. Do you require certain temperature setbacks for EMS rebates to qualify?
For ours, no, we don't.
Okay.
For ours, we don't. Any other questions? Hello?
That's it.
Any other questions, Chris? Okay, great. All right, let's move on then. Let me see, where are we? All right, we're looking at, I think that's the Conrad Hotel, if I'm not mistaken. Here you're looking at a project cost of $137,000. The incentive was about $33,000. Projected annual electric energy savings, $37,000. So, of course, we're looking at an incentive payback that was reduced from 3 years to 18 months. Typically, what I've seen is that the incentive amount is going to be anywhere from 20 to 35% of the cost of the project. That's the average incentive that we see within our program. The most we'll pay out is 50% of the cost of the project. So if the project costs $1 million, then the most you'll get from us is $500,000 in our program. But the typical incentive is going to range again from 20 to 35% of the cost of the project. Okay. Now, what's new for us in this program you're pretty excited about is adding a variable speed drive to pool pumps. We didn't have that in program year 4. We do have it now. We're paying out at $100 per horsepower, which is rather exciting. That's one in which I think a lot of people forget, but you guys have hotels. You've got those swimming pools. Don't forget about the opportunity there. And also you take a look at purchasing ozone laundry systems. The savings there is tremendous at 60 to 80% on water heating costs, and it's at $40 per pound. Now, for us in the common service territory, that would have to come in custom because we don't have a prescriptive or standard measure for that. But if you take a look at this slide, and you take a look at the vending machines, we do also pay out. We have a variety of worksheets. We have what's called a refrigeration incentive worksheet, and on that one is where you'll take a look at the listings for what we pay out for simple things like Energy Star, glass door freezers, LED refrigerated display cases, putting bendermisers on, beverage machine controls, energy style refurbished vending machines, so ice makers, that sort of thing. We pay out, again, anywhere from $30 to $40, $50. So it's definitely worth taking a look at the incentive worksheet that we provide for you. Okay, as I mentioned here, high efficiency ice makers saves energy. We're paying out anywhere from $100 to $150 per unit. Vending machines controls, these are actually excellent. We've taken a look at a variety of projects here. And this goes also for like campus, schools, any place in communities where you have the vending machines, paying out anywhere from $100 per unit or $30 per unit for the snack machines. But these are great at maintaining and reducing energy. Now, I guess this would be Nevada, but they have a casino. Unfortunately, we don't have many here in Illinois. Where they've installed a variable speed drive on a water boost pump system. And the utility incentive there provided a $5,300 incentive, project annual cost savings of about $16,500. So when you take a look at putting variable speed drives on, we'll consider almost anything, particularly if you can show a net KW reduction. And I think that that's something that's universal in all the programs that I've seen that we implement, is we're looking for a net reduction. If there's something, ladies and gentlemen, that you have in your facility, some process that you don't see or that you haven't heard in this presentation where we provide an incentive for, please contact us, because we'll still take a look at it and may have to come in custom. We may not have a simple, what we call prescriptive or standard measure for it. So at this point, I can open it up to entertain any additional questions.
Michael, we did have a question from Melissa. She asked, she uses ComEd and wants to make sure she's utilizing incentives that are available. Who should she contact, and how does she get started with this?
Okay, great. That's a good point. All of our worksheets and the information can be found on the ComEd website. So you go to the ComEd website, comed.com, and there is a tab there called Business Savings. And with that tab, it will direct you to all of the variety of worksheets and application forms where you can find out additional information. Now, the caveat in our service territory, Northern Illinois, there's only one little small pocket of area that can't participate. That's the river cities of Naperville, St. Charles, and Batavia, as well as Rochelle. And that's because those municipalities actually own the distribution line. This is ratepayer funded, so if you take a look at your electric bill, you'll see that you are contributing into the fund. But if your hotel is located in the city of Naperville or St. Charles, Batavia, unfortunately you would not be able to participate, because at that point you would not be a ComEd customer. However, if you get your power from a retail electric supplier, of which we have 60 variety here in Illinois, that's fine, because the delivery is still done by Commonwealth Edison. But yeah, simply go to the ComEd website. You can download the worksheets. If you have any questions, you can give me a call. That is actually my cell phone number that's published there, or email me, and I'll be happy to help you and walk you through.
Hi, this is Scott. Just anybody that's looking for investigation, if you didn't fall into the geographical area covered today, please feel free to reach out to Chris Lewis or myself, and we'd be more than happy to do a little investigation for you to see what's available in your area as well.
So to go off of that, what Scott was saying, this is Stephanie again. I know in our AEP Ohio service territory, they are what we call a solution provider, a trade ally in our program. So they are trained on the program, and they're a great tool for you to go to, or resource, and they're definitely knowledgeable and can help you get in contact with your local utility, or even help you fill out the paperwork. I think we're working on one project right now, is that correct, for you guys in the AEP Ohio service territory, and you guys are helping your customer get the paperwork and incentives all filled out so they can receive their incentives.
Yeah, and Stephanie, that brings up an interesting point. I think this is Chris again with EcoGreenHotel, and I think you guys mentioned the differences briefly about the custom versus the prescriptive program, and I think that typically the the custom programs will yield a better incentive, and they are a little bit more involved in terms of the application process, but we've been through that, with KEMA and with other groups many times, and we're happy to assist in that process. In fact, I think one of our solutions that we've identified was the pool solutions that that is on that particular project that Stephanie was referring to in the AEP Ohio area. So, we're well versed. We're happy to assist in any way. Obviously, the information is available online, but a lot of this is not your core business, and we understand that. You've got guests and employees to worry about, and so we're here at your service to try to assist you through that process. Some people have asked about how to get in touch with us. I believe we've posted all my contact information on the next slide, as well as Scott's, and we will make this webinar slideshow presentation available to you as an attendee. I believe we will be emailing that out. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes, yes, it is correct. And we did receive another question that was more related to the federal level, and I don't know if Stephanie or Michael might be able to speak to what types of federal incentives are available. I know EcoGreenHotel, we have familiarity with 179D, and I was hoping Stephanie or Michael might want to comment on federal incentives as well.
Well, from my standpoint, I really haven't worked much with the EPAC at all, but definitely EPAC is something else to take a look at. There's other services I think hotels should look at, tax benefits, because you guys are for-profit, so there's like cost segregation services to get that analysis done at your facility, and take a look and see what's available maybe on the state level. But no, I haven't done much work with EPAC, but that's also something that should be explored.
Yeah, just a quick overview on EPAC is it's tax code 179D, and for buildings put into commission of 2004 or newer, or went through a major renovation from 2004 or newer, they can qualify for 60 cents per square foot in 3 different categories, totaling $1.80. So it's 60 cents HVAC, 60 cents building envelope, and 60 cents for lighting. So you can meet 1, 2, or all 3 of those caveats, and it's a tax deduction at your tax rate that in a typical, not typical, but if a hotel is owned by an LLC with multiple investors into that LLC, that tax benefit would flow down to those individuals. And we have a very good partner that helps with the tax side of that, as well as the calculations to see if you meet the criteria to qualify for the $1.80 per square foot, or up to $1.80 per square foot.
Great. We do have a couple other questions coming in, which I think anyone on the panel can answer. One of them is, do installed systems require Energy Star to meet incentives? And that's a great question, because there are particular instances where it may be an Energy Star label or a different label. So that is a yes and a no. So it would have to be more specific, Michael, with that question. But just because it doesn't have the Energy Star label doesn't necessarily disqualify it from incentives. A lot of times, especially with the custom programs, it's going to really boil down to the kilowatt hour reduction that we can prove.
Well, let me speak to that for just a bit. At least with our program, if the customer is looking at replacing T12 light, for instance, and going with LED, with the exception of an LED for an exit sign or for a can, low wattage can replacement, or for linear refrigeration application, all of the application for an LED, if you're looking at a troffer or replacement anywhere else, that LED has to be listed on the Design Lights Consortium website. In our program, if it's not listed on the DLC, there would not be an incentive available at all.
And just again to stress why it's important to talk to your local utility. Here with the Ohio program, as I mentioned on the LED slides, what we do here is that we will pay a 5-cent higher incentive if your LED fixture is Energy Star or DLC listed. However, we do have what we call non-standard LED options, which you can still receive an incentive for installing. It just won't be as high as if you would install an Energy Star or DLC listed incentive. So I think the good point, again, talk to your local utility, talk to Michael or I about qualifications or EcoGreenHotel. It is a yes or no question or answer. There are some measures that we do require here in our program. Their equipment to be Energy Star listed, and other measures where it is not a qualifier. So again, you want to work with your local utility just to find out what their qualifications are for that incentive before you implement anything. Here we give the option, or we encourage people to submit a pre-application, and when you do that, the engineering staff will actually review your project and your specs that you plan on installing and just confirm that what you plan on installing does meet our minimal requirements and that you can receive your incentive. So if there's a possibility you fill out a pre-application, I encourage you to do that just so that you can get a sense of peace that you will receive those incentives.
You know, Stephanie, that's a really important thing to mention is the process here for us. We do have some measures where a customer can, you know, install change a lights system out that doesn't require pre-approval. However, but for the most part, many of them do. And so you can't change it out and then, you know, call me up and says, okay, we've changed everything, now we want to get an incentive. Ours is really an incentive program, not a rebate program. So it does require pre-approval. So you definitely want to make sure that you get the application in before you start the project, because we have to be able to establish what that baseline is.
We have another question regarding nonprofit and associations and the issue of government incentives. It's true, you know, obviously if you're a tax-exempt organization, the tax benefits do not apply for you. However, I think that there are the utility companies that is not an issue with regards to utility incentives in most instances. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I can confirm that. However, here in the Northern Illinois area, if you are a public entity, for instance, a municipality, a public college, community high school, you can participate in the program, but the processing is done by the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, not through us, DMV KEMA. Actually, they even pay more, to be honest with you. But it's just a different process. The way the legislation was written here in Northern Illinois, and it's different everywhere.
Okay, I see another question about we use DTE in Michigan. What is the best time to contact you for more information?
Sure. DTE is one of those utilities that DMV KEMA manages that program. I believe the question was, when's the best time to contact us? And you can feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call after this presentation, and I can give you the correct contact information for that program, or I'd be happy to try to answer your question if you have specific questions about the DTE program.
And Stephanie, the question has come up if there are any rebate opportunities for new construction. And I know personally that AEP Ohio does have such programs, and I think it would interest the audience to hear a bit more about it.
Yeah, thanks. I did want to bring this up. A lot of our program here in AEP Ohio, we have a new construction major renovation program. So a lot of people don't think if they're building something new that there's an opportunity for their utility to help pay incentive on that project, because again, the whole purpose of energy efficiency programs are to reduce load. So if you're building a new building, you're actually adding to it. But what we do here in Ohio, if your new build or major renovation is beats what we have ASHRAE 2007 standards, if it beats that by more than 10%, we can offer you incentives. And what's great and why you should get involved, at least here early, is that we have it set up that if you're doing a whole building project and you're working with a design team, we can not only pay your design team incentives, but we can also pay you the customer incentives for that new construction whole building project. So if anyone's out there planning on expanding and building new hotels, again, be sure to check with your utility, see if they have anything in place to provide you incentive for a green, efficient hotel.
Yes, Stephanie, we have a very similar program here in the Comment Service Territory. However, the one caveat I want to mention to people is that we have to be brought in at the design phase. If you are already breaking ground and putting in the frame, at that point we'll have to take a look at other measures on the standard portfolio. So bring us in sooner rather than later. If you know you're building a building, we want to be involved in the decision-making process in the design phase.
And Stephanie, or Michael, would you be able to talk a little bit more about any other states like Minnesota, Colorado, Connecticut, or Nebraska?
Perhaps Stephanie could, but unfortunately I work like a horse with blinders on. I have plenty to keep me busy here with ComEd, so unfortunately I don't work with those other programs.
I don't believe, from my knowledge, I don't have much knowledge on those specific utilities programs. Was there a specific utility or a question about that, or did someone see that we did have a presence in that state or with that utility?
The question comes from Melissa. So Melissa, if you have a specific question, maybe we can help you out. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to Chris Lewis or myself directly, and we can get you started and on the right track with any specific questions in those states. And we had a question, can you speak directly to incentives in Kentucky? I know there's an AEP Kentucky, and I'm wondering, Stephanie, if there might be any crossover between the programs.
Yes, there is a program with AEP Kentucky that DMV KEMA manages a portion of it. And again, that'd be a great example. If you want to get in touch with me, I will be more than happy to get you more information on that program. I know that that program, at least the section again that we manage, is not nearly as large as, say, AEP Ohio or ComEd's program. So definitely, if you want to get in touch sooner rather than later, just because, again, they may have less money for their incentives, but I can get you in touch and help you out there.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for attending our webinar. And also, we have a couple questions coming in regarding Florida and a few other states. Again, I'm fairly certain that Stephanie and Michael will not be able to speak specifically to those states, but feel free again to reach out to us, and we can point you in the right direction for sure in terms of what programs are available for your specific utility.
Yeah, to close up, I think you definitely, everyone saw just how Michael and I both called out different differences just between our two programs. Again, we can't stress enough that while a lot of utilities across the country have these type of incentives in place, their qualifications and requirements and incentive levels differ from state to state, from utility to utility. So again, it's always very important to get in touch with your local utility or to get in touch with someone like EcoGreenHotel who may have familiarity with those utilities and can help you throughout that process. Again, we understand this might not be your main point of focus, but there are definitely people out there who can definitely help you out, give some hand-holding and advice for you to get the ball rolling. The important thing we want to stress today is just to get started with your energy efficiency project, and there's a lot of benefits to that, especially helping you boost your bottom line, help your hotel get more efficient, and see some savings.
Great.
As far as Florida is concerned, too, there is some great programs in Florida. Chris and I are both based out of Florida, and are very familiar with programs down here. So feel free to reach out to us on that.
I want to thank Stephanie and Michael for joining us today, and everybody that's been on the call. It's we do provide an educational webinar every month, so hopefully you've signed up for our newsletter, and so you can join us on the next one. Again, we will make this presentation available via email, and you can feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and we'll endeavor to get you pointed in the right direction if we can't help you directly. Again, thanks everybody for joining us today, and appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.